Upgradable GPUs are back in laptops. Google is enhancing YouTube videos with AI, and Nvidia only wants AI. 100% fake frames. Let's get into the hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. We're going to be going over the hottest tech news I can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast this Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. And we're going to start off today talking about Framework's little announcement that they had yesterday, finally completing the promise that they made with the Framework 16, and that it would be upgradable. And now they have let us know that it's going to have an RTX 5070 upgrade module that you can make to the laptop. So now you can swap out the GPU like things used to be in the yesteryear when we had MXM modules that existed in the underbelly of the laptops. But now it looks like it's going to be slightly easier with the expansion base that Framework is rolling out. So this is coming with a new updated Framework 16 that has a more rigid body. It has a new panel, which is going to support G-Sync. However, if you get the RTX 5070 with the original Framework 16, that doesn't support G-Sync. It's only FreeSync. But the Framework 16 being a solid upgrade over the previous one in terms of the new design, but then also you can make upgrades to the previous one in case you purchase that. They're also upgrading the CPU to be the Ryzen AI 300 series as opposed to what it was previously. And they also have a second generation module for the 7700S GPU, which was the previous discrete graphics card that was offered with the Framework 16. But AMD hasn't announced any 9000 series mobile laptop GPUs as far as I'm aware, so they had to go Nvidia if they were going to keep their promise of providing an upgradable GPU, and it looks like they and Nvidia worked it out, and it's going to be coming to fruition. So to start the laptop without any sort of GPU upgrade, it's going to be about $1,500. If you do want it with the GPU, it's $2,200 or $700 for the 5070 by itself. But Framework is quoting that the 5070 should be about a 30 to 40% increase over the 7700S. And just as a reminder, we actually gave away a Framework 16 at, I think it was last year's charity stream. So whoever won that, I can't remember, you can now upgrade to a 5070 in case you're interested. I did not keep the Framework 16, but whoever got it, you now have the opportunity to put a little extra in there. But also because of the 5070, they increased the power draw for that. So there's a 240 watt power adapter for it. So things are slightly changed, including a new second gen webcam. But in case you don't want to use that, you want to use a real camera, you should check out today's video sponsor, because cameras can be kind of pricey, but everyone wants to look good on screen. Fortunately, today's sponsor, OBSBot, offers a solution: quality and affordable webcams. Whether you're a seasoned Teams meeting veteran or just looking to break into the streaming space, a good webcam is a must. OBSBot's powerful sensors, AI tracking technology offer a simple and crisp 4K video experience. Be sure to check out the Tiny 2 Lite and Meet 2 in addition to their entire lineup of goodies, all via the link in the description below or in our link tree. Thanks to OBSBot for sponsoring. And while you can definitely see with a camera, because that's how they work, I didn't see this coming, which is Android announcing that they're going to be changing a little bit about how you're able to side load apps in the future. One of the main reasons why people pick up an Android device is so they don't have to be under the thumb of Tim Apple and everything that he's doing with that company, trying to make sure that he sees all the apps that you install. So this is going to apply whether you're part of the actual Google Play Store or if you're just having your apps side loaded via an APK or potentially with third-party app stores, which are now going to be required thanks to the Epic Games ruling that happened between Google and the Fortnite maker. However, according to Google, they're saying that this is just like an ID check at the airport. They're not going to be actually verifying the contents of the app itself. You just have to, if you're a developer, register with Google. They have to make sure that they can check your identity, but they're not going to be reviewing the content of the app. So they're changing the app developer console to require this. However, it's going to be in a limited rollout right now. It's going to be in Brazil, Singapore, Indonesia, and Thailand in late 2026. So there's a gap between when this is announced and when this is going to be implemented. And then going to the rest of the world doesn't appear to be happening until an undisclosed date in the future. I've already read plenty of commentary about how this probably won't fly in the EU. It might create some controversy there. But also, one of the things that I just find kind of intriguing is Google's claim that they're not going to be verifying the content of whatever apps are out there. I'm sure once there's some sort of uproar about an app that was part of the developer ID ID check that somehow got through and caused some sort of controversy that they could potentially change that stance in the future. But Google, it's not necessarily the end of the world, but they're changing their tune in the kind of open availability that you have for Android by itself. Now, how this applies to rooting phones and all of that kind of stuff in the future, maybe there's going to be more development for that going forward so that people don't have to actually abide by those rules. We'll see how this all plays out, and we'll see how Reece saves you money on PC parts.
Yo, welcome back to UFD Deals, bringing the hottest tech deals out on the internet. It is Wednesday, my dudes, and here's the deals for you. Starting off, we have this G-Wolf Skull Mini SKS Ultralight Wide Gaming Mouse, available in the Sakura colorway for only $12.99, making it $16.01 off. But then next, we have the Epo Maker Galaxy 65 Wireless Hot Swappable 65% mechanical keyboard for only $54.99, making it $55 off. And then lastly, we have this ASRock B650 PG Lightning AM5 ATX motherboard for $114.99, making it $125 off. And hey, with that, the deals are done. You can find these and more linked in the video description down below. But until next time, I hand you back to Brett for the rest of your hot news. Cheers.
Well, Reece, it turns out that if people have been watching YouTube Shorts, they're getting a little bit more of a deal than they bargained for. They're getting a little AI uphancing in terms of the content that they're watching. This is something that people have been noting for a while now, that there appears to be some sheen, some glossiness, some motion smoothing that's being presented into content that isn't actually being put there by the content creator. And it turns out that after some controversy by a YouTuber who made a video about this, YouTube came out and said that yeah, they're running a test where they're using AI to actually upscale this. They say that it's not generative AI, but rather traditional machine learning, which I'm not sure how that makes it any better, but they're doing it to reduce blur and noise and sharpening the video. And while it's technically not upscaling in resolution, which is what Google is reporting, YouTube's reporting that it's not upscaling, it is definitely changing the quality of the image. Now, the main controversy here is that this is not being consented to by the creators, who likely are putting effort into how their videos actually look and want to be served to the audience that is receiving it. And if an AI algorithm is just changing how that appears, they could potentially not be having the video that they want to put out in the world being delivered the way that they want to. Now, this kind of gets into a more general argument because there's always some sort of post-processing that happens when you upload a YouTube video. They do compression and various different things in order to make sure that they're not serving out raw full video files. So I think there's going to be a debate and discussion about where is the consent line need to be drawn, where does it stop being actual just normal post-processing and starts becoming something that changes the fundamental aspects of the video. We'll have to see how all of this plays out. Currently, it's just a test that YouTube is trialing. Whether or not they roll out fully is not quite clear at the moment. But what is clear is the iPhone 17 event is going to be happening in about 2 weeks. September 9th is when the awe-dropping event is going to be happening at 1 p.m. Eastern. That's the name of the event. So that's when we're likely going to see the super slim phone that Apple's launching that has less battery, and then they're going to launch a battery pack case for it so that you could get a thicker phone with better battery life, which is just a normal phone. It's going to be a normal Apple situation. And what Nvidia wants to be normal in the future is making sure that all of your frames are 100% AI generated. There's the Hot Chips conference that's currently going on right now, and Ryan Smith over at Serve the Home kind of reported on some of the things that Nvidia is discussing over there, and that happens to include their neural rendering setup that Jensen has talked about in the past, but they are now just talking about a little more, and how their Blackwell architecture will allow them to not have any traditionally rendered frames in video games moving forward. So this is obviously just a pipe dream, I would speculate, from Nvidia right here, but they talk about various different reasons why they want to do this. They're saying that it can increase battery life because the neural rendering doesn't take as much effort as an actual traditionally rendered frame, and that it can give you 10 times amplification in performance, footprint, and design cycle. And in kind of this fairy tale land of AI actually working, they're saying that the gameplay grows as you do because it's adaptive and personal, and there's no curated experience anymore. It's not a vision that some designer put out there, it's whatever the neural net decides to give you. Nobody has a cohesive thing anymore to share with others. They have to all have bespoke, individualized things where different things happen, and it's kind of just changing as you go. And if you consider right now, they already have the situation with the RTX 50 series. When you turn on multi-frame gen, you can get up to 75% of your frames completely rendered with neural rendering with using the tensor cores. So they're just trying to hammer out that last 25%, which is probably going to be really simple. It's probably going to come out soon. I mean, we just look back at 2018 with the launch of the RTX 20 series. They showed off Battlefield 5 and ray tracing that just works. And, you know, we're living in a future now, 7 years later, where ray tracing's literally everywhere. Every game has it. It's so beautiful and good. I can't imagine going back, and there's no way a game could justify using any type of other lighting besides ray tracing. It's a good future we're living in. Let's go to the past, seeing what you guys had to say in yesterday's episode of Hot News. We got Jim Body saying, knowing Brett is like 20 years younger than me, it is somewhat reassuring that he has to check and read the date and day from the screen to know it for sure, as I often find myself having no idea the day or date. I'm not sure what my age has anything to do with that. Also, I don't know how old you actually think I am. I'm typically older than people guess based on my appearance, but also I do know the date. I'm just always trying to make sure. Sometimes I'll say the 27th when I meant the 26th, and so just looking at it, make sure that typically the right words come out of my mouth. It's not me trying to remember it, it's trying to make sure that I don't misspeak, which happens quite often. It turns out that talking good is a skill that I sometimes fudge. And then Enja here saying, is that the Doom limited edition 5080 in the background? That guy? Yeah, sure is. Here's the box for it. We have a build that we're going to be doing with it sometime soon on a live stream. We're getting the Haven HS420 Doom themed case. We're going to be putting that in there, and then it'll likely be a giveaway here on UFD Tech at some point in the future. In case you're interested in our giveaways, we have a Blade 18 with a 5090 laptop giveaway going on over on our Twitch stream, twitch.tv/UFD Tech, and on our twitch.tv/UFD Music stream, we have a 9070 XT PC giveaway going on right now. And just kind of as a kind of housekeeping note, we will be having a going away community day for UFD Tech here in Pittsburgh in the middle of September. So kind of start, if you want, we'll likely have like in-person giveaways that we're doing for that. So if you want to come say goodbye to me or just meet some of the other crew or potentially participate in the giveaways, we will be doing stuff there. It's not really tied to the Doom 5080. We're not going to be giving away that PC as far as I know in person, but we're working with several of our partners to make sure that we have some goodies to bequeath unto you. And then Yuchia asking, can I get my Nvidia CPU without sauerkraut? I guess. I don't know why you would. Are you okay? Like, who doesn't want sauerkraut on their CPU? I don't get it. And then Jim Coleman saying, every episode of Hot News is a gift. Crying about no gift on Monday is ungrateful. It was the opposite of that. So the comment was about how I was giving a video on Monday, even though I say that we don't do it on Mondays. They were joking that it's like, it's an unexpected surprise, and that I don't typically, it wasn't, I think they were appreciating the gift. I think that's it was, you know, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then 1 + 1 = 1 + 1 says RTX 6000 is already out. Yeah, you're right. You know, I forgot about that. I actually even have one. I have the RTX Pro 6000. I forgot. You're right. I should delete yesterday's episode. And then we got Out of Options saying, it's going to suck. Can't wait to see this comment in 3 years. And Keith Dungus Kung Fu saying, insert snarky comment about Nvidia. That about sums up the rest of the comments from yesterday's episode. Was just begrudge disgruntlement. I'm gonna go be grumbled though. I'll tell you that. Not disgruntled. And I'll see you back here for more of the Hot Tech News later.